Hi, welcome to ESP32 tutorial from Robojax. My name is Ahmed Shamshiri. I'm presenting this tutorial from Canada. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can control two AC load or DC load or fan or device using two relay channel with ESP32, either from your mobile device or a desktop. For example, I can turn the light on from my mobile device, turn it off, or turn on and off using second relay, a buzzer, or I can do it from my desktop. Turn on and off. You can get the code for this by clicking at the link below the video in the description, which will take you to robojax.com/learn/or. In this tutorial, we're going to control two AC load, such as fan, motor, or bulb, or maybe two DC load, doesn't matter. We will be using two relay to control them using this ESP32 module. Doesn't matter what type or shape of ESP32. As soon as you see here Hover 32 or just ESP32, all of this will work with the code that I'm providing. This is a relay relay module that I'm using, and you must pick a type that has this optocoupler. And the design of this, the optocoupling is not important here for us, and it's not for safety reason, it's in terms of design and compatibility. The one that has optocoupler, we will be able to control them with 3.3 volts logic of this ESP32, because this operates with 3.3 volts and the pins are going high and low based on logic of 3.3 volts, which are compatible with this module. This module is operating with 5 volts. These relays are 5 volts, so we will be connecting external 5 volts to this. This cannot be powered with ESP32 module, because the 5 volts that is coming here, it will be just for powering up, or you can connect 5 volts to this, and the amount of power that this is providing via this regulator is not sufficient to turn on and off two relays. The relay has terminals here. This is relay 1 and this is relay 2, and this relay has these 3 terminals. The other relay has also 3 terminals. I have separate video explaining this module and using it with Arduino to turn on and off, but here quickly you will connect the load to these 2 pins of this relay. This is the middle pin, and that's the other one, the normally open. And also for this one, you will connect it like this. These 2 wires that I've connected, I will be connecting it to a buzzer here. For this demonstration, I'm going to use this AC bulb. This is a plug that will be connected to wall outlet, and the light will be turned on. At the middle, at this point, I have disconnected the wire, one of the wire, the live wire here, and I've twisted them and prepared them. These 2 will be connected to the relay. Job of relay is to turn it on by connecting these 2 wires, turning on the light, and disconnecting it, turning it off. So this can be a bulb or a fan or any other load, the same way the relay will connect it and disconnect it. Let me now explain the wiring. These 2 are my external 5 volts, and from here relay I've connected this VCC to the positive on that side and the negative to the external power. Input 1, I1, is connected using green to pin 12, and input 2 here has been connected to pin 14 of ESP32. Even if you have this type of ESP32, here it says D12, D14, but here it just says 12 and 14. So the number doesn't matter, but it refers to 12 and 14. So from one of the pin of ground, I have to have also a common to my power supply, which I'm going to connect it here to this negative. And here for the 2 wires that I just shown you for my AC bulb, these 2 will be connected to the relay 1 to these 2 pins. And here is how you connect your load. This is the load, and it needs 2 wires to be connected to power. This doesn't matter if it's AC or DC. So the 2 wires are coming to the load, and the circuit completes like that. Now to control it with the relay, we just cut here or do something like this. The power goes to relay. Relay needs 2 wires. When it switches it connects this wire back here and the load will turn on. So these 2 extra wires will be created. If you just cut here, it will be 2 wires. Now this is the relay. If I show you inside it and remove this cover, you will see it that it has a winding and the power will come, and this is a contact where it goes up and down. Let me power it up so you can see it. And here you see that it contacts at this point and establishes a contact, either disconnect or connect. When it goes up, it connects this piece to the top, and when it goes down, it connects it to the other piece. So the whole current passes through this small piece of copper here. And if this is overloaded, this will burn and there will be a possibility of fire. So always follow this instruction or the rating that is labeled on the relay. This is 10 ampere and any voltage as it shows 10. Follow the instruction and do not overload it. And here is how you can calculate the power rating of a relay. For example, this relay has been rated at 10 ampere at 250 volts, 10 ampere at 125, and 10 ampere at 30 volts DC and 28 volts DC. In all these voltages, it has been rated at 10 ampere. But this one has been rated at 10 ampere 250 volts AC, 15 ampere 125, and 10 ampere 250. Regardless of which module you have, they all have a rating on them written, so keep that in mind. For example, in your region, if you're controlling an AC load and the voltage is 220 volts, 10 times 220, just put a 0, it will be 2200 watts or 2.2 kilowatts. And if you're in North America, if it's 125 volts, for example, this one is rated at 15 ampere. So 15 times 120, you will get 1800 watt or 1.8 kilowatts. If you are using, let's say, 12 volts and 10 ampere, just multiply 10 times 12 volts, it will be 120 watts. So keep that in mind. If you overload any relay with a more than rated current, it will melt and there will be a hazard of fire. And if you want to go the other way, let's say you know the power and the voltage and you want to calculate the current. Let's say you have 1500 watt power and your region is 220 volts, 220. This can handle 6.8 ampere. So if you're using this relay, it is rated at 10 ampere, you're good. Make sure that the current that you calculate is always below the rated current, or the power that you calculate is always below the rated calculated power. In order to start using ESP32 with Arduino IDE, you need to prepare Arduino IDE for that purpose. You will copy and paste it here. You see it says package ESP32 index.json at the end. So once you paste it here, click OK, click OK. This is telling Arduino IDE where to get the board driver. Click on Tools and then Board Manager. And here, wait for this to complete at the bottom, this bar graph. And then type here ESP32. You see ESP32 by Espressif Systems. It says installed. In your case, it will not be installed. You will have install button here. Click on it and it will take maybe a few seconds or a minute. And the installation, once is completed, click close. Now we have to tell Arduino IDE which board you're working with because the driver is ready. Click on Tool, Boards. This is Arduino IDE which you will usually work, but scroll down until you see a line below that. All of these are ESP32, and ESP32 rover module is the one that you click and select and the dot will appear. Now we have to select the port. For that, we have to find out which port we are using. Right click on the start menu device manager, and you see port. Click on this arrow to collapse it, and mine is using COM port Silicon Lab. If I disconnect it now, you will see that it will disappear. Connecting it back. So this is COM6. Note that, click on tool, ports, and you will see COM6 is already selected, and now you can write your program and run it. Now let me explain the code, but before that I have to explain this page that is used to control two different channel of relay. This is an HTML page. If I press Ctrl U, we will be able to see the text. Let me increase it by pressing Ctrl plus. So this is an HTML page, a text that is coming from ESP32 when it acts as a web server. So this HTML tag is at the beginning, and then HTML with / is the end. And these are the style sheet for the button that you see here with this color, size of text, and all of these. And this is the title that you see in here. And then we have two buttons. This is one button with a certain style, and you can see here it says light on with control (?) R1 equal on, and then for the buzzer R2, which means relay 2 on. And once you click it and it changes, then if I open the page again, this time you will see that it says off R1, and then here it says R2, R1 off, R2 off. Both of this will change, and also the color will change. That's why you see it in different color. This code is started with an example code that is available as part of ESP32. When you click on File, Examples, and scroll down under Examples for ESP32 Rover module, and scroll down until you see here Web Server and then Advanced Web Server. I have heavily modified it. Here on this line, I have defined relay 1 pin, pin 12 for that purpose, and relay 2 pin, pin 14. These are side by side, so it eliminates confusion. And then the state of relay, this is where the initial state of relay, either 1 for on and 0 for off. You can set two relays at what state would they start, and also these variables will be used later on. When you click, these value will be updated behind the scene. And then button 1 title, button 1 title 1, button 1 title 2, these are the text. Button 1 title 1, button 1 title 2, these are the light on or light off. These are the text. This text is, the off is coming from here, the on is coming from here. And also button 2 for the second button, also we have these text, so you can customize it. For example, you can put fan, motor, whatever you have, and change them accordingly. These are part of the code. I have not changed them. These are needed for Wi-Fi operation. And here is your SSID for Wi-Fi, and this should be your password. Make sure to pay attention to the upper and lowercase, as this will not work if you put lowercase, for example. So lowercase r is not the same as uppercase r. Pay attention. This password is for your Wi-Fi. I'm using it for my router when I record. I will shut it off after this. And the web server is running at port 80. We are not changing them. And then handle root is where I have defined a string variable called HTML, and it starts from here and ends in here. This is the whole page that you just saw here. This is this page, and only portion of the page with relay 1, when the relay state is 1 or 0 or on off, we are defining that button with text, and also if it is off, we are defining with different text and different color. And then we do the same thing for relay 2 state. If the relay 2 state is different, we put different text inside the HTML. This is variable. This is concatenating the portion of the button to HTML, and this is concatenated at the end, and end of the code also this is concatenated. So HTML is original variable that is here, and we are adding more values into it to make the whole page. and then when it is completed, we are printing it as a type HTML as a type text /HTML. So the server is sending this to the screen. Now, handle not found is a function that is taking care of requests that are not valid, and from here to here, if you pay attention here, we have here relay1 off. It says control ? relay1 off. When I press it, it says control relay1 on. So we sent command on, and this one changed. Now if I press it, it will go off. The same way for relay2 and relay2 off. These are values that have been defined. Now I have control. For example, if I say here book and enter, let me increase it, you will see that it says URI /book is not found because it has not been defined. Or if I put argument ? Let's say count equal 1, 2, 3. Also it says one argument count equal 1, 2, 3, also not found because we have not defined it, which I'm going to show you. Inside the setup, we define using pen mode relay1 as an output, and also using digital write, we set relay1, this is pen 12, as whatever is relay state, on or off. So this is for relay1. We do the same thing for relay2, relay pen 2 as an output, and also changing the state. And this is defining the serial monitor baud rate. If I click on the right side on the serial monitor button, this opens on the right side lower corner. This is the baud rate that data is being communicated or displayed. It must match 115,200, otherwise you will not be able to see it. These are already part of the code. I did not change them. I have not changed these. They were already existed. This was the same. This is just printing HTTP, and then it prints the IP that the Wi-Fi is connected. And this is the multicast DNS. We are defining it as RoboJax ESP32. This is the value that you can access your. It will print this HTTP and then the IP address, and also it prints this value that is available for us to access the page. So this is a multicast DNS. This way you don't have to remember the IP, just type this, and every time you boot it, you can access it with this. But this does not work in some networks or some devices, but this is always trustworthy. This is where it says handle root. This is handling the root with even if you don't type anything, it will print a page for you, whatever is available. But this /control is the line that I've added when a request type of get is arrived to the server. The web server of ESP32 goes to this function, which is at the bottom of the code, which I'm going to explain it. I've written that for this purpose. These are part of the code which I have not touched, not found, begin. These are just basic operation of the server. And inside the loop, we initialize the server handler client. So the job of this one is to handle all the requests. And here we say for relay1, this is all for relay1. We check if relay state is equal 1. I could just remove this and make it like that, relay state if it is true. But for learning purpose, I'm leaving that so people know that it means if it is equal 1, then with digital write, use digital write, relay pen low. So this turns on the relay. Else, if it is not 1, then we turn it off by sending high command. Because the relay is low trigger, with low it will turn on. And then we have the same thing for relay 2, and then we wait 100 milliseconds. This was just a text for me to display for debugging the value. If you want to activate it, just remove these two / or uncommented. It will print that text for you. Control relay is a function which I mentioned at above. When the request comes, the argument from server is R1 equal on, which means in here R2 equal off. And if I say R1 equal off, now R1 equal off and R1 equal on. If it is R1 equal on, then we set the relay 1 state as 1. Else if it is equal off, then we set relay state 1 equal 0. And the same thing we do for R2. If it is on, we set relay 2 state as 1, and otherwise for off we set relay 2 state as 0. So 2 relay will be taking care of the request in here inside this relay control, and the code is completed. To access this page on the desktop, you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network as the ESP32. So I'm clicking here and it shows I've been connected to RoboJax, which is the same Wi-Fi network as my ESP32. Otherwise, if you're connecting to something else, you will not be able to see it. To access ESP32, we have to know the IP address. For that, let's open the serial monitor. The monitor is just empty like that. And I have to press this reset button. Once I press it, I will see the screen. So I'm pressing it now. And here it shows IP address 192.168.1.12. As I explained in the code, we can access it via this RoboJax ESP32. This is a MDNS or multicast DNS that in some networks it works, and in some places or some computers it will not. The browser is open, and I'm typing that RoboJax ESP32. Turn on and off. Let me demonstrate it with mobile device. First, your mobile device must be connected to the same Wi-Fi network as the ESP32. As you can see here, I'm connected to RoboJax, so that is good. And here, when I typed here 192.168.1.102, I saw the screen that is opened. This is exactly the same screen as the computer that you see here. So this is now on my mobile device. And when I press this button, the light turns on, turns off, and now the buzzer turns off. Thank you for watching. This was how to control two AC load or DC load with relay using ESP32 over Wi-Fi, either from your mobile device or a desktop. If you like this video and learned something, please thumb up, as this will help my video in the search algorithm of YouTube. If you have comment or question, post it at the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. If you want to get updates of my upcoming videos, make sure to subscribe. This text is now let me just test it. This is also already connected. The code is loaded. When I click, it turns on, and also the button changes now to red and it says light off. So when I press, it means I want to turn it off. Press this. So if I want to turn it